Today, we're going to talk about your team. If you're a financial advisor serving individuals and families, providing comprehensive financial services, I'm going to talk about how teams tend to struggle with this issue of delivering on outcomes as opposed to services. So I'll get into what I mean and give you the context behind the whole thing. But bottom line is this. I think it's a human instinct. None of us like to be held accountable to anything. So if we can arrange, in general, just humans, if we can arrange our commitments so that there's a little wiggle room in what we're delivering on, then it's more the better. When in actuality, when we're dealing in financial services and you're dealing with affluent, successful clients, I've done other videos on the fact that advisors who promise clients outcomes work with larger clients and charge higher fees without question, as opposed to financial advisors who promise services. So if you're a financial advisor and you want an example of this, like what's an advisor that promises services versus a financial advisor that promises outcomes? I'll give you an example. So many financial advisors, when they're describing to a potential client how you work, list services. For example, a financial advisor might say, client says, so what do you all do? We say, we create financial plans for our clients. We manage investments. We do tax planning, estate planning, or maybe you actually do some of that work. Now, a lot of our clients, we use the term financial advisor, but it's a very broad term. Many tax accountants, for example, who in addition to doing tax work, do tax planning, which is forward planning. I'm putting them in the category of financial advisor. So if you're a tax accountant that does tax planning and you consider yourself a financial advisor, guess what? The data shows so do clients. If you do any sort of forward planning, at least in these videos, I call that a financial advisor. So let's say you're an estate planning lawyer. You do wills and trusts and all the estate planning. Maybe you settle estates and do probate, all this sort of thing as a lawyer. But also as a service, you provide estate planning for clients, which means you create a comprehensive written lifetime estate plan strategy for clients. Then you're a financial advisor, at least in the minds of clients. So I'm sticking with the data on this one. Financial advisor seems to be the single term that's clear to clients, at least. You deal with forward planning. If, let's say, you are a financial planner, that's all you do is you're a certified financial planner. You do financial plans. Then a client would think of you as a financial advisor, so forth. Even financial advisors who sell financial products for commission, at least in the mind of a client, is a financial advisor. So what is the issue of outcomes? If you're a financial advisor promising services, you might say, oh, we create financial plans, or we do wills and trusts, or we do some sort of planning related to tax or some such thing. That's a list of services. This is what we do, list of services. Whereas outcomes are different. Outcomes relate to the client. Outcomes are something that the client hears that's what you do, and they understand how it impacts them. For example, you might say, we provide truly comprehensive financial services, and the outcomes that clients can count on from us are you will always be on track to your goals. We know this because we have you coming in every couple of months or every 4 months or 3 months. If you've drifted off track, we are already prepared to get you back on track. An outcome a client could expect, hypothetically, is we'll always keep you on track to your goals, or we will make sure that that we are so proactive in our planning that you will never miss a planning opportunity. You can count on the fact that in our process, you won't miss any planning opportunity that could have been caught through good planning. nor will there be any financial surprises, which again, you can count on the fact that there won't be financial surprises if they are issues that could have been caught by extraordinary planning. So these are outcomes. These are the things that if you'll promise outcomes as opposed to services, affluent, successful clients will pay far more in the amount of fee, and they will work you'll be able to work with larger, more complex clients if you'll offer outcomes. Now, the purpose I've talked about this in a number of videos. The purpose of this video is, let's say you're in that subset of advisors who want to move upstream with clients. You want to work with bigger clients, more complex clients. You want to charge higher fees. Therefore, you begin taking our advice and pledging outcomes to clients, things that they can be assured of in working with you. How do teams deal with this? It's a struggle. So you need to be very clear with each and every one of your team members how these outcomes that you're pledging to your clients, how these outcomes impact each and every team member. So in my mind, in our program, we separate team members into kind of two types. You have administrative support team members. Then you have what we call subject matter experts who have deep expertise in some area of planning, and they're actually doing something to provide service to your clients. These are the people on your team which actually will contribute to the outcomes that you're pledging. When it comes to your administrative support team, you need to be crystal clear on what you expect from them, what you need for administrative support to deliver on the outcomes that you're pledging to the clients. The best example of this on the admin support team side is responsiveness. And you need to be able to explain to your administrative support team that as we move up in size with clients, we start raising our fees, the client's expectations of us begins rising, and it's not correlated. So if we promise outcomes, then we think it's going to take this much more effort on our part to deliver on those outcomes. But the more you promise outcomes, it's not proportionate. Clients expect way more than you realize. So that's another topic that we've done videos on, how you should sit down. You need to sit down with every client and have the expectations conversation just to make sure you're clear on what they expect. But back to the admin support, the one thing that's for sure, as you get larger clients, you start charging higher fees. Responsiveness is definitely something that clients expect. Whereas before, if you would wait one business day or whatever your standard was for returning phone calls, returning emails, clients are a little bit flexible when you're not promising outcomes. When you're just promising services, there's the standards are one way for a client. The minute you start pledging to deliver on outcomes, all of a sudden, the client has now put you in a different category. You're now in a higher category. They expect more from you. You need to tell your administrative support team that if we're worried about what the clients are expecting, just count on it. When they contact the firm, they expect attention, let's face it, within a couple of hours. So you tell your admin support team, if it's an ideal client that's calling in, these are the clients that are paying the freight at the firm here. These are the 20% of our firm's clients that represent 80% of the revenue. So when an ideal client calls in, it's got to be as though heaven has rocked the earth and all things stop. You deal with that because it's an ideal client. They expect pretty much instant responsiveness. At our firm, we tell ideal clients that we will get back with them. We will respond to all their requests within one business day, which is the standard, but within 2 hours whenever possible. That was a compromise with my team, because if it were up to me, I would just tell clients, we'll get back to you within 2 hours at all times. My team fought me on this. So the compromise was I was willing to tell ideal clients one business day to get back with you, but within 2 hours whenever possible. Don't let your team talk you out of this. I'm talking about the data. I'm talking about what clients expect. Don't even think about going for more complex, bigger clients, charging higher fees if you can't get your admin team on board with the way the ideal clients think. All right. So that's responsiveness. There's other things like on the administrative support side, we've got data on this. Clients, one of the biggest complaints of ideal clients is, I don't know when I'm going to be talking to my advisor next. You work these things out with your admin team. What we recommend in our program is that you book all meetings 12 months out at all times so that every ideal client knows they've got it written down that they've got a meeting scheduled with you. All the meetings for the next 12 months are currently on the calendar at all times, which means every time they come in for a meeting, we're replacing that meeting a year later. We make sure to always have those meetings booked, and we never have a client worrying when they're going to be talking to the advisor next because they already know. All right. So that's the admin support side. You need to really go through the logic of what outcomes you're pledging to your clients, brainstorm it with your admin team, let them help you with this to figure out what are the implications on the admin support team when it comes to these things that we are pledging as outcomes to clients. So now I want to talk about what really triggered this recording, this video, because we are dealing with a couple of teams that we work with. I mentor advisors and their teams. There's a couple advisors on the East Coast in the United States who are struggling with this right now. And it's not their admin team. Their admin team's got this all dialed in. It's the subject matter experts. So let's say you're a financial advisor. I ask you, who do you have on your team that is helping you provide comprehensive financial services? Let's say hypothetically, you say, there's an estate planning lawyer that we work with here locally, and we always have. Great relationship with them. So I clarify now, what are they doing? Are you just sending people to them when it's time to update their wills and trusts? Or are they part of your system? Are they part of your annual process for every ideal client? Meaning that this estate planning lawyer creates and updates every year the client's comprehensive written lifetime estate planning strategy and the action items and recommendations that are required to implement their strategy. So if you have any subject matter experts, it might be an estate planning lawyer, it might be a tax accountant, it might be a risk and safety or insurance expert, could be a money management chartered financial analyst like a money manager, but whatever. If you've got somebody on your team, I'm not saying doing just anything. If you've got them implementing certain services, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about comprehensive financial services. That means planning. If you have anybody on your team that's creating on an annual basis, creating or updating annually the comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy, the comprehensive written lifetime money management strategy, the comprehensive written lifetime risk and safety strategy, which includes a review of all the insurance. Let me tell you, clients think these individual strategies are being updated annually by you or your team. Now, my question is, do you have anybody helping you with this? If so, are they aware of these outcomes that you have pledged to the client? So let's say I've got a tax accountant, and yes, they don't just review tax returns for my clients before they're filed. No, they're actually involved in the planning. So yes, I have a tax accountant that helps update on an annual basis for my ideal clients the comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy. And it's reviewed annually just to make sure nothing's changed in the tax law and nothing's changed in the client's situation that would require a major course correction in the comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy. So you say, yes, I have somebody doing that. Then I would say, if you have told your clients that they will always be on track to their goals, then have you sat down with this tax person who's creating this strategy or updating the tax strategy annually. Have you told them that? In other words, what does it even mean to be on track to the comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy for this client? So it means sitting down with each subject matter expert and determining, what does on track even look like? What does that mean? And you'll work out with each one of them, whether it's an estate planning attorney creating the estate strategy or a money management expert creating the money management strategy for this client. What does on track or off track mean? They're on track if these set of circumstances occur, and they're off track if these set of circumstances occur or don't occur. That's good. That's a very good thing. You've now started moving into the territory where the data show that the ideal client is thinking you're doing this anyway. Now here you are, you're clarifying what on track even means in each of these areas. We're talking in our method, we're talking about financial planning, money management, insurance, estate planning, and tax, those 5 areas. So do you have anybody helping you update the strategy for a client in any of those 5 areas? If so, what does on track mean? Are they on track? So before the client comes in, do you know whether or not the client is on track in these 5 areas? You report either way when the client shows up to the client progress meeting. You say, hey, just up front, I want to let you know you're on track. Your tax strategy's on track. Your money management strategy's on track. Your estate planning strategy's on track. Your risk and safety strategy, so that's on track, and so forth. That's number 1. But I want to focus on the outcome number 2 that I gave you as a hypothetical. So let's say you decide, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to pledge the outcome to the client that they won't miss planning opportunities and they will never have any financial surprises that could have been avoided by good planning. Okay. Now, I don't think that's sticking your head out too far, because if a client has a financial surprise, even if you don't promise the outcome, if they're a higher complexity client and they're paying you a higher fee than normal, if there's a financial surprise, I got news for you. I'm sure you already know this. Your job's on the line anyway. There can't be financial surprises with ideal clients. So I never looked at it as going much out on a limb with my subject matter expert to sit down with each of them. Let's say I'm looking at the tax accountant. I'm saying, so you're going to update the client's comprehensive written lifetime tax strategy annually. That's great. I just need you to know that one of the outcomes that we've pledged to the client is no financial surprises. Part of that means no tax surprises. As long as I've made this pledge to the client on your behalf. So you've got to make sure your process is so thorough, so high level, that you're not letting things fall through the cracks, and that the odds of there being any sort of a financial surprise is close to 0. And you can't say, unless the client doesn't tell me this or that. No, you need to tell me what you need in order for you to be able to assure us that there won't be any tax surprises or whatever area you're talking about. That's where I'm saying subject matter experts struggle with delivering on outcomes. They're not used to delivering on outcomes. It's human nature not to be held accountable for something like that. But let me tell you, if you study the data anywhere as close as I have, you will understand one thing. The client is absolutely holding you accountable for all of this and more. And the closer you can get your team dialed in to what specifically they're accountable for, the better for the client, which is the main thing, the better for your firm, the better for them professionally. The more they're actually delivering on outcomes that they feel confident that they know what they should be doing. It really boils down to that. If you can assure me that the one thing that is in common for anyone that you invite on your team to help deliver the forward planning for your clients, and that would be these are what I'm calling the subject matter experts, the more you can get them to commit and really accept the pledge that you're making to clients around things that the clients are already expecting, the better the relationship will be with your subject matter expert. What we're really talking about here is ensuring that every SME understands they must be thorough. They must be they must be delivering their best work for these ideal clients of yours, and nothing can fall through the cracks. That means they've got to create checklists and fact finders. They've got to tell you everything they need in order to live up to these outcomes and pledges. All that's fine. All that's understood up front. Yes, yes, we understand there's a lot that we have to deliver to you so that you can promise these outcomes, like no tax surprises or whatever. But that it starts with the SME having a good process and providing you with what they need to know in order to live up to that outcome. It's a topic that many advisors, in working with advisors as long as I have since 2002, these are conversations that advisors haven't thought about often, or they're just now beginning to think about what kind of conversations do I need to have with anybody else on my team, whether it's the admin support team or anybody that I've got helping me actually deliver on this planning at a high level. Either way, what are the implications on your team of these outcomes that you're pledging to clients if indeed you step up and take my advice to start thinking about what are outcomes that you'd be comfortable providing and offering to clients and pledging to clients that would actually move the needle for the client. The ones that I've been talking about will move the needle. You promise to keep a client on track to their objectives. You promise that you're not going to miss opportunities. You promise that there won't be financial surprises that could have been avoided by good planning. You promise things like you'll make better financial decisions in all areas of finance, not just money management, but all decisions. These are things that move the needle. This will help you in your client acquisition. You'll notice that when you shift from listing services to outcomes, that, and I say this a lot because this is the experience that we hear the most from advisors. It's when you get into that world that you start noticing clients in your initial meeting with potential clients. They will fire their current advisor, hire you on the spot. If their old advisor finds out about it later, maybe a courtesy call from the client, maybe they just get transfer paperwork, who knows? But whatever the case, it starts with promising and pledging outcomes and then really conversing at a deep level with everybody on your team to brainstorm what are the implications on them of these outcomes. All right. We'll see you in the next video.